This episode of the SportsBros podcast is brought to you in part by independent Legal Shield associates Chanel and Lorenzo Livingston. Now, we all know the rise in identity theft and how it can affect not only you, but also your family. Identity theft has been on the consumer complaints filed with the FTC for over 15 years. ID Shield provides identity protection services for not only you, but also your family as well. If you become a victim of ID theft, ID Shield's team of licensed private investigators will work diligently to restore your identity. For as little as a few cups of coffee or $1 a day, you and your entire family can be protected. To view this and other professional legal services, go to www.smartchoice.info or you can call them at 301-996-5719. Once again, you can check them out at www.smartchoice.info or you can call them at 301-996-5719 and tell them Eddie Cool from the Sports Bros podcast sent you. Now, let's get to the show. Welcome to the Sports Bros podcast with your host, the head of creative, Eddie Cool. Also, the almighty B-Live and the money man, Scotty D. And now, without any further ado, here they are, the Sports Bros. What's going on, world? This be your boy, the HOC up in here, Eddie Cool, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Bros podcast. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and let our listeners know ahead of time that my voice decided it wanted to take a vacation without taking me. But guess what, though? With hunger, drive, determination, and a lot to talk about, Hall's cough drops, and some good old hot tea, we still going to keep the show going. And as always, I'm flanked by the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on? This be your boy, the almighty B-Live. Just to let everybody know, I'm actually on scene at Max Speed Shop on today recording this wonderful episode of the Sports Bros. So there might be a little something going on back and forth and everything, but I am dedicated to bringing the news, the sports to you. Yes, sir.
The best way that we know how to. And as always, we got the money man, Scotty D.
What's up, fellas? You know, I was listening to our podcast the other day, and it's become glaringly obvious to me that what I thought all along is correct, and that is if everyone just listened to me, things would be so much better. I am right more often. I am right so much of the time. And B-Live, I don't even want to delve into your shortcomings or anything on this, but I make a hell of a lot more sense than you do. I'm just saying, as an objective listener.
This is how we're starting this podcast. You know what? See, this is the kind of stuff that we talk about. Like, you know, when we have factions in wrestling, we have groups in music, we have sports icons. There's always going to be somebody that just thinks that he's better than everybody else, wants to break apart from the crew.
Oh, no.
Then now we got a Justin Timberlake of the Sports Bro podcast. Think he's just better than NSYNC or whatever the Backstreet. But I don't even remember who does what anymore. It's so long ago.
And Scott, thank you for helping me make my
money
point
man.
About making sense right there.
Hey, I'll tell you what, at this point, I know how Marty Jannetty felt when Shawn Michaels put his head through the barbershop glass.
Right.
All right.
Oh, my God.
All right, but I digress, and let's get on topic. All right. Our first topic, The first topic we're going to talk about is the NBA Conference Finals Playoffs recap. And right now, as of this time, because I think there's a game that's going to be played before this podcast is released, the Milwaukee Bucks are up 2-1 in the series versus the Toronto Raptors. And in the West, you know what? In the words of my man Dax McCall, it's all over but the crying. Golden State does what Golden State does, and they're up 3-0 versus the Portland Trailblazer. All right, Be Live, the Milwaukee-Toronto series. What you got?
Scotty D came with it early.
Oh boy.
But I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it to help his precious ego out, because this is gonna be released Tuesday. Yeah, it's probably by that time when this releases that Golden State will have already clinched and be in the NBA Finals. Yes, we all know it. I just want something to talk about. I'm gonna be off the wall with a lot of things. If I just conceded like everybody else did, then we'd have nothing to talk about when it came to the Western Conference Finals. But for the love of God, I'm gonna tell you right now, if Golden State is struggling and have to come from behind against Portland, the Greek Freak is going to give Golden State hell. I'm calling it. Milwaukee will beat Golden State, will beat Toronto. Toronto needed double overtime. They needed a completely awful performance by the dude and him fouling out in the second overtime in order to actually win a game. Yeah. Yeah, you hear some noise in the background. We got a clean house up in here.
Live on location, baby.
On location, that's what we do. But yes, Toronto time and a bad performance from the Greek Freak to pull out a win. This is over in 5. I'm calling it.
Wow. What you got, Scotty D, about the Bucks and the Raptors?
Well, predicting Golden State was going to win, that's not a far-fetched thing. It's not like I'm a genius because I think Golden State's going. Everybody thinks that, really. So that's not. Let's face it. Golden State is obviously the best team in the West, and who's the second best team in the West? It's not Portland. It's Houston, and they already beat them. So I'm not really that surprised that Golden State is handling these guys that easily. Now, I did think it would be a little bit more difficult without Durant, but again, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are stepping up their games that have been there all along, and they kind of deferred to Durant. So that series is over and said is over and done with. It's all, like you said, all over but the shouting. I just don't think the difference between Toronto and Milwaukee is quite as obvious. I could still see this thing go in 7 games. I think the home team can win every game in this series. And, I know it was a double overtime, and Toronto would have been kicking themselves had they lost because they had a chance to wrap it up at the free throw line in regulation. And at the end of the first overtime, Kawhi had the ball in his hands in an ISO situation and came up short. But I think there's still a lot to watch left in that series. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to Milwaukee 2-2, honestly.
Yeah, I just got a feeling out of these 2 remaining series, the most intriguing one would be the Milwaukee and Toronto series, based off of all the facts that you guys said. And just like I said earlier, shout out to my man Dax McCall about the Golden State and Portland series. It is all over but the crying. Do we even want to talk about that series? To be honest with you, do we even want to say anything about it?
Well, I'm gonna say one thing, because you know what, Scotty D is disrespectful. Because he's just disrespectful because he mentioned KD being out and everything, and thought it might be close, and then Klay Thompson and Steph Curry doing what they do. But how dare you not mention Draymond Green and him balling out, triple-double Game 3. And on top of the defense that he's playing, like, just more stats. Because, I mean, the amount of, like, the defense that he's playing, him and Iguodala, their defense has really also been the difference maker. The Splash Brothers are going to do what they do. They're going to hit shots. But, man, the defense that Golden State is playing is phenomenal.
No, you're right. You're
They're
right.
pretty much unstoppable.
And Draymond has played well. You're absolutely right on that. He stepped up his game, especially in Game 3. He really took over. I think maybe Draymond might be seeing the urgency, too, of getting this thing wrapped up. Now with Iguodala hurting, on top of Durant hurting, and Steph having some sore fingers from the previous series, they probably do sense a little bit of urgency of just getting this thing over with and getting to sit down for an extra few days. Getting a little bit of rest before they go into the finals.
Yeah, that respite will definitely help them, man. So that way they can heal some injuries and mend some wounds and everything. And so that way, like you say, if you go ahead and sweep, if you sweep, get it out of the way, over and done with, you get you a few days of rest and on the business. And yeah, I'm really looking forward towards this. I'm gonna go ahead and look into the future. I'm looking forward to this Golden State and Milwaukee series. It's going to be good. Will Kawhi laugh his way to the finals? Not this time. Not this time. But I guarantee you he'll be hungry next year. All right. And speaking of hungry next year, the NHL Eastern Conference Championship, the Boston Bruins bust out the broom against North Carolina's favorite bunch of jerks, the Carolina Hurricanes, and if they win the series 4-0, be live. It was a hell of a season for our beloved Carolina Hurricanes. Storm Surge, bunch of jerks. Don Cherry having a hissy fit with his panties in the wad. It was an exciting series. There have been many exciting seasons in Hurricanes history, but the most exciting one is when they won the Cup. But the ones after that, I think this one was the most entertaining out of them all.
Oh, absolutely. And I will say this. A lot of people, and I'll even admit it, Carolina at first wasn't supposed to be there. They were a flash in the pan. Part of what Don Cherry was saying, I'm going to be unbiased, part of it was true when it comes to the traditionalists, when it comes to the NHL. I mean, the Hurricanes were doing, I attribute it to what the Panthers were doing back in 2015 when they went 15-1, and the Panthers were dabbing on everybody. Oh, I mean, it was going to piss people off, but it was such a beautiful thing. It ignited an entire state, two states for that matter, because I'm from South Carolina, and we ain't got much of nothing in South Carolina. So what's in North Carolina is what's in South Carolina. Two states, one team, yes sir. But really, Carolina was outclassed. They really weren't supposed to be there. They struggled, and they managed to claw out and get the 7th seed. It took double overtime, Game 7, to beat the Capitals. And then I don't think the Islanders ever showed up, but it was a wave of momentum. But Boston is clearly the best team in hockey right now. Tampa Bay was good in the regular season, but Boston was the second best team in all of NHL during the regular season, and it's now showing now. Tuukka Rask is phenomenal at net. It's just phenomenal. So, I mean, hats off to the Boston Bruins. I see them, whoever they face between the Blues or the Sharks, I think Boston handles it, and yet another championship for the Boston, New England region. Are you kidding me? This is starting to get old. But I'm sorry, I digress.
Another one.
I digress. Another one.
Yeah, Tuukka Rask was playing like out of his mind. I don't know if McElhaney or Mrazek could have done anything, but man, Boston is loaded on all ends, and this is the best time they're having like some of the best goaltending of the season now by Tuukka Rask when it counts in the playoffs with a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals on the line. Scotty D, you're sitting this one out.
Yeah, I think Gretzky's got a nice game. I think he's got a big future.
All right, and like I said, the St. Louis Blues and the San Jose Sharks, the Blues are one game away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals. All right, and speaking of championships, or as the kids say, the ships, Brooks Koepka, is that it, Scotty D?
Brooks Koepka, baby.
All right, Brooks Koepka. I was told earlier to put some respect on Brooks Koepka's name as he wins the PGA Championship in astonishing fashion. Scotty D, can you opine about the one, the only Brooks Koepka?
Man, Brooks Koepka has the total package when it comes to golf, because this guy is hitting the ball a mile off the tee, actually, and with his irons, but he's hitting greens, man. This guy is hitting greens he's hitting fairways and greens. He's not chasing the ball from rough to rough. He is legit in the zone, man. And I know he faltered a little bit on the back nine on Sunday, but that's bound to happen over the course of 4 days. But he had enough to hold on, and the fact that his best performance are in majors just shows you where his mental state is. I mean, he's not afraid of the big moment. He's not afraid to get out there and take it. I mean, he's said before he felt disrespected and overlooked, and he thought he was the best player out there, and he's going out and backing it up every tournament. He very easily could have won the Masters. He missed a putt on 17 and 18, and he could have been right there. He could already be up 2 majors this season alone. But Brooks Koepka right now, that is the dog when it comes to the world of golf. He's the big dog at this point.
Oh, yeah. Roman Reigns references. He is definitely do it. Be Live, you got anything on Brooks Koepka?
Well, I can agree with Scotty D on that. But it's one of those things where golf is such a dynamic sport, and there's so much talent in the PGA right now. And Dustin Johnson, me and you gonna fight. Me and you gonna fight. Because how many times is he right there on the cusp? Like, Dustin Johnson should have double the amount of majors victories if he could just close. He was on his heels. He was on his heels, and I'm telling you, when somebody's on your heels like that, you've got to keep the pressure. You got to put the foot on the throat, and yet he falters at the I think he bogeyed 15 and 16, if I'm not mistaken, and
he birdied 15 to cut it to 1, and then 16 he was sitting in the middle of the fairway and he blew the green. And afterwards, he actually said he can't believe the ball went that far. Conditions were tough out there yesterday. There was a lot of wind blowing. But you're kind of making my point for me. I mean, it just goes to show you just how – I mean, Dustin Johnson's been number 1 in the world, and he has a hard time, crossing that finish line at the top. And that just shows you just how mentally tough and polished Brooks Koepka's game has gotten when it's come to these major championships.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I heard they said Brooks was, was kind of stagnant a little bit, but he pulled it together. What we going to say, Be Live?
I'm definitely going to agree with that, and it's going to be very interesting with the remaining 2 majors. One person, I was hearing this preview of the PGA Championship, the major, and they were saying that because Tiger Woods didn't play any other events between the 2 majors, he's not in a rhythm. It's hard to just jump from one major, not play for a month, and then jump into another major and be able just to jump right into it. That's why Tiger Woods, I say, missed the cut, because he came off rough, and that just comes to the being polished. They're putting the reps in, and I will definitely agree with Scotty D as far as, and I'm not going to do too much more agreeing with him because I can feel his ego coming through the airwaves, but I will agree of his assessment when it comes to Brooks Koepka. Amazing performance, and he gave himself way more cushion than what was even needed to win, because he definitely was on that cusp, because he was up 7 and the lead was down to just 1 stroke at very point. And I'm sitting there thinking, looking at the screen, like, he is about to give this up, and then Dustin Johnson does what he does. But Dustin Johnson's still number 1 for a minute. Shout out to Coastal Carolina University, them Chanticleers, yes sir. CCU. Dustin Johnson, keep doing your thing, man. You're still the best in the world at what you do, and you're competing in every event, and that's why you're number 1. So, man, my hat's off to you.
Well, that's good. He's showing up. Dustin Johnson showing up and not folding up like a card table, and that's important, man. Golf is very, very tough, and it's more mental, if anything. And just like you guys expound upon, hey, man, this is the classic with Tiger Woods. It's a classic case of rest versus rust, and rest versus rust affects rhythm. Triple R, rest versus rust affects rhythm. Congratulations to Brooks Koepka for winning the PGA Championship. Guys, do we even want to talk about this here one-hitter quitter, Deontay Wilder? Was it like three fights? Did he have like a sprained elbow or something like that? Like what in the hell happened.
Yes, I want to talk about it because I mean, he didn't have to hit that dude that hard. I want to talk about it. I mean, good Lord. I mean, I replayed that video at least 42 times, and I'm not even lying about 42 times. I saw it, and I got it on my phone, and I'm like, dude, hey, come here. Did you see this? Oh my goodness. Let me rewind it back again. Why did he have to? Did my other dude, Brazil, like say something bad about his mama or something? I mean, like,
He did say ahead
good.
of time that he thought he had a chance of killing him, and for a second there, I thought he did. Looked like he got shot with a gun when he jumped in the other night.
Yeah, boom,
Down he went.
And then the thing about it was they said Deontay Wilder said that he was gonna kill him with a smile on his face.
And I mean, just oh.
You mean to tell me? You mean to tell me I got to go? I know my voice is jacked up, but I'm gonna say what I got to say. You mean to tell me I got to go in the ring against a dangerous man with them things that's licensed to kill, and he's sitting there smiling? Yeah, I'm gonna kill him. Man, look, I'm saying prayers. I'm taking vitamins. I'm doing push-ups, sit-ups. I'm gonna try to mentally psych myself up to try to go in the ring. Well, somebody tell me what happened. Was it 3 punches and that's it? It was 1, 2, 3, and then ding, ding, ding. Is that what the hell happened?
No, it went on a little bit. Actually, Brazil took a little bit of a mini flurry, like early, right off the bat. Man, maybe he got confident with that. He survived that first storm, but he didn't see that second because that was a 1-punch knockout. He didn't get set up with a jab. He just took a roundhouse right and down he went, man. That was brutal.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, he said, eat this and then move, lay down, lay down. Man, that was crazy. You got something else to say, be laughing about this?
Nope, I'm speechless. He Deontay Wilder literally knocked my breath away. Boom! It was over. There it is.
Yeah.
Night.
Can't wait to see him again. Look forward to his next fight.
Oh man.
No. And his opponent, he needs some milk. All right, fellas, we are flying through this show. And guess what? We're at our favorite part of the show. Excuse me. And it is the gallery, aka the listener section. And Scotty D, what was the question for this week's podcast?
We asked, who do you think is the best play-by-play or color commentator out there in the world of sports today?
And we know Scotty D just loves him some Doris Burke.
Doris Burke, the top of my list, yeah.
Yeah, that is his BABY. All right, we got a pretty good turnout. Excuse me. We have a lot of new names. All right, so first one is going to be Pete Talinsky, and I can't argue with this one. The legendary LA Dodgers broadcaster, long time LA Dodgers broadcaster, Vin Scully. That's a good pick because
actually Vin Scully, in my opinion, is the best broadcaster in history at any sport. I used to actually listen to Dodgers broadcasts on the way home from work. Sometimes I'd get it on XM radio just to hear him talk. And I wasn't a Dodgers fan, and I didn't care who they're playing. I just he just gave you that down home feeling, man, that old school feeling of being at home, and his descriptions of the players on the field, and he'd describe what the stadium looked like. You could picture it. It was almost better than watching it to listen to him describe it on the radio. He is undoubtedly, I think, the undisputed greatest announcer of all time in any sport. So Vince Scully, cheers to you, man. I know it's been a couple of years since he's been in the game, but he still carries a lot of respect.
Yeah, he does, man. Vince Scully, he's just like you said, man. He can paint a picture with words, and for you to paint a picture with words, man, you got to be pretty damn good at what you do. So I like that. Max Sidney, he said Eli.
That's Max
Gold.
Idix. That's Uncle Max. He's another former soldier from the overtime army.
Oh, what's up, Uncle Max? All right. Oh,
man,
Uncle Max.
Overtime.
Oh, man, we about to get sad.
It's so hard
to
to
say
say goodbye.
yeah, man. Anyways, Uncle Max with Eli Gold. Eli Gold, he's a pretty good commentator as well too. Trey Duke, and I like this one too. Tony Romo. Tony Romo gets a lot of flack for hey, he's calling the plays. I mean, this guy was a quarterback, so what do you expect? Okay, he's a quarterback, and the thing about it is, I think Tony Romo, now he's good, and over time he'll be very insightful because he'll give the viewers a quarterback's perspective of what to see as far as like picking up blitz packages, realizing coverage, making adjustments at the line. So I think I like Tony Romo. I like that. I really do.
Romo
really,
has
really
been
do.
a breath of fresh air the last couple of years. I have to admit, he's better than I was expecting him to be.
Yeah, but him.
He's definitely a lot better in the commentating booth as opposed to when he was on the
And
field.
here we go.
Yes,
Cowboy
I knew it. It wasn't gonna be long. I smelled it coming a mile down the road.
I'm just saying.
You know what's
It's
funny? People tell me all the time, like, "Hey, Scott, I think Tony Romo's doing a really good job. I like him." I'm like, what do I care? He does not do anything for the Cowboys anymore. Great. I'm glad you like him.
Yeah.
It's not like you're giving me a compliment just because you think Romo's a good commentator.
Yeah.
So dang, I tell you, that is just rough. I mean, I thought Tony Romo was your dude. Is it like that? You use him, abuse him, and then you toss him to the side, or is it one of those things because he's such an underwhelming quarterback for you guys?
Ooh.
I mean, is that how you really feel about Tony Romo?
Wow.
Like I still have a lot of love for Steve Smith. I mean, we lost him. He went to Baltimore for 3 years, still balled out, but he never got us a ring or anything. So you telling me that I should feel the same way about Steve Smith?
Hey, you feel how you feel, bro. That's on you. I like Romo, but when people are telling me they say it to me like they're giving me compliments that they like Romo. I don't care. Go ahead, go listen to him, enjoy it.
They're giving you a compliment because that's about all you can do when it comes to Dallas. Hey, you got great commentators because their product on the field is terrible.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, Troy Aikman is a great commentator, and he was a lousy player. He produced nothing.
Oh boy, here we go.
Another valid argument by me. Let's move on.
Well, I'm just saying, Jason Witten did a wonderful job of commentating. Yeah. So great that he decided to retire and come back to the NFL.
Guys, I got that itch. I got to go back. I can't take it. John Tessitore, I don't like you. I got to
go. Hey, Witten had to go back to the field because he got tired of wearing that piece around on his head. That didn't look good on him.
All right.
He'd rather wear a helmet than a carpet on his head.
Than a rug. He got a rug.
He had to wear that rug on Monday.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Hey, it's like this. Unless he doesn't have that Carl Ravitch rug. Good God Almighty! What the Carl Ravitch? What is that on your head? Found it on the side of the road on Highway 17 somewhere. There's a raccoon. Nope, that's an hairpiece. That's an aesthetic. I'll use it. All right. So my man Jay Boogie from the Chucktown, Charleston, South Carolina, representing. Mike Breen, also known as Curry for Three. Bang! Mike Breen. I think I just shot my voice, but I don't care. I'm good.
Mike Breen's good, man. I like him.
Yep. He is good.
He's definitely revolutionized. Like, I don't think Steph Curry is as good to the public eye without Mike Breen. That bang is synonymous with Steph Curry at this point in time. So, I mean, it was a great call, and it's going to stick for years to come.
Curry need to go ahead and cut that check. Here you go, Mike Breen. Thanks for putting me over. You see so many similarities with the wrestling business and other sports as where the announcer's job are to put over the performers. And, the announcer's job in the world of, actual professional sports is to kind of, shed light on the athlete. But here it is, man. We got Mike Breen putting over Steph Curry, and deservedly so. I'm trying to figure out how come Mark Jackson ain't got a coaching job. But we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. And our residential hockey dude, hockey bro,
Bruce Wilkinson, Big Bruce. I remember we used to go to was it Geno's and get that good old pizza right there in the Gator Hole Plaza in Northern Beach by Buffalo Wild Wings. Oh, I can still taste that pizza now. Bruce, I want some pizza if you hear me. He says Mike Doc Emrick, NHL National Hockey League commentator on NBC Sports Network. And I actually like Doc Emrick's style of commentary. You know, he'll get you through the game, and then when there's a break in action, he'll reset the game so you can catch up and you don't miss a minute of it. So Mike Breen is one of the Mike Emrick. Whole lot of Mikes going on here. Mike Doc Emrick is one of the best commentators in all of sports. How you feel about the Doc, Scotty D?
What was the name of the guy that picked him again? Bruce?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bruce is correct. This is the right answer to the question that I asked last week. Doc Emrick is the best commentator in sports today. I mean, if you ever really sit and watch a hockey telecast with him in it, it makes watching the next one without it feels like there's something missing because this guy adds so much excitement. And do you realize that when the hockey game gets into a constant flow and the guys are coming over the boards and leaving, he's tracking all those dudes on both sides. I couldn't name you 5 guys that are playing in these final 4 teams or these final teams that are left in there. Doc Emrick knows these guys inside and out. And I know that is his job, but that's what I'm saying. He's so good at it. And he has such inflection and excitement. Man, when I think of the Penguins winning their Stanley Cups a couple years ago, I just can hear Doc Emrick being like the soundtrack to those championships because that dude is on top of the game, and he is the correct answer, I think, as to who is the best announcer in sports today.
All right. And before we go on to naming our favorites, we had a residential sports bro, our favorite, JR, our other brother. He left you guys a little message, and you guys already heard it, so we're going to go ahead and play it for the listeners right now.
Okay. To the money man and to Live, I said what I said. One, I think Tom Brady's overrated for the simple fact that, hey, he's garbage to me. He's a great QB. I'm not saying he's totally garbage. He's a great QB. And yes, he's got 6 rings. So what? I feel John Montana's a better quarterback than he'll ever dare to be. And you put Tom Brady in a different team, put him on the Cleveland Browns, he won't be able to do anything that he's done. Kevin Durant went from a team that almost put the Golden State Warriors out to joining them the next season because he's a punk, because he knew he couldn't beat them. So that's my stance.
All right, and that is a voice message from the one and only JR, a.k.a. J Smooth. And you want to get heard on the Sports Bros podcast? You know what to do. Go to our page, our anchor.fm page, and just leave a message in the inbox. And who knows, you can be just like JR and get your response played on the Sports Bros podcast. Scotty D, I hear you got
No. Scotty. Scott, I'm gonna let you get to it in a second. But who I told y'all he was in timeout. Who let him back on here? And now we got to hear him now too.
Yeah, he was in the penalty box.
That's what I mean. I'm talking about. This should have been a week major, like not a 5-minute major, but a whole week major in the suspension. But no, Scotty, go ahead, do the professional part and how you feel about what JR had to say. I'm gonna let you go ahead.
Because B-Live sound like he about to get him. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, first of all, JR, we do greatly appreciate you participating in the show. And I am gonna be civil here, and I'm gonna grant you the Kevin Durant overrated explanation, because I get it with that, as far as he did the old can't beat him, join him thing. He couldn't beat Golden State. He had a chance to close him out at 3-1 when he was still with OKC, and he went to a team that had just come off back-to-back finals appearances. Sorry, dude. Tom Brady's not overrated. I mean, you can tell me Joe Montana is great. That's fine. That just doesn't make Brady any less overrated. So, I give you credit for getting out of the penalty box, though. I mean, somehow you worked that out with the head of creative. B-Live is coming out of his skin over there, but thank you, JR, for reaching out and trying to clear that up for us. We do appreciate that.
I'm gonna give him this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be civil. I get your argument. I get your argument about Kevin Durant. I really do. Like, it's one of those things where his talent was sort of masked at OKC. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, all right, I see something that's already proven, and it's basically I can walk into there and be like, all right, I'm a ball out myself because, you know, I could take some of the weight off of here, and I don't have to be the focal point because Steph Curry has already taken on that mantle. I don't have to be the focal point. I can just come out and ball.
Yeah.
And so it turned into now he's the greatest player on the planet because guess what? The pressure of being the greatest player on the planet has never really been on him.
Nope.
So I guess I get where you can see that might translate into overrated, but maybe there's a different word for it. Overrated is for somebody that we think so highly of and they don't perform. Kevin Durant performs. He balls. There ain't no doubt about it. There's nobody on the planet that can stop him. Maybe the Greek Freak. Maybe on a good day. That's about it. So I mean that the whole overrated with Kevin Durant, like, unfortunately, there's only one basketball, and that's why he really couldn't shine at OKC because Russell Westbrook, and that person deserves the overrated stigma.
Yeah, I agree.
Tom Brady, I can see why you say he's overrated because he is a system quarterback. Would he be able to have 6 Super Bowls without Bill Belichick? We will never know.
But you know what? So, JR did make an interesting point. He was like, take Tom Brady and put him on Cleveland. And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, you talking about Cleveland going into this season, Cleveland from last season, or Cleveland from, you know, from 2000 to now.
Yeah, but you can do that with most athletes. I mean, most athletes that have won Super Bowls or NBA Championship or World Series, you can say that about them. Well, what if so-and-so played for this team or that team? Would he be as good? Well, we don't know that. But the point is, he is thriving playing with Belichick and, under Belichick. And that's the only argument we can make.
Yep.
I mean, true. At the end of the day,
if my aunt, there's always ifs. If my aunt was born with balls, she'd be my uncle.
Wow. You know what? Eddie Cool, get back control.
All right.
JR, appreciate it. I get let's do something else.
All right, y'all get back to throwing coals in the engine. I'm gonna go ahead and put this Amtrak back on the track for the second consecutive week. All right, back to this week's topic, the sports announcers. One of my favorite announcers is Kevin Harlan.
Yes.
People want to say he sounds like Marv Albert, but I think there's a distinct difference between the two. Marv Albert is a legend. He's been in the game forever, but Kevin Harlan brings an energy to the game. He's able to have that Mike Emmerich quality, as I said earlier, as to keep track of the action and also provide a reset in case you get lost in the action and you forget what's going on. Because a prime example of that is I listen to some football games when I'm coming and going for work, and whenever Kevin Harlan is on, I'm there. Three running backs in the backfield, two set out wide, the defense in the nickel package, man in motion. Like I can actually see the game while I'm driving, and so he paints a definite picture. So Kevin Harlan, that's one of my favorite sports commentators. Scotty D, who you got?
Well, I kind of already gave mine away. I mean, agreeing with the Doc Emmerich thing. But, I do think Marv Albert gets overlooked a lot of times these days. And a guy that a lot of people dislike that I'm not really sure why is Joe Buck. He gets a lot of flack. But I actually think Joe Buck does a pretty nice job. And, paired with Aikman, he's good. And John Smoltz in the playoffs is money. When those two are together doing postseason baseball, John Smoltz I did not like as a player, but that dude is really fantastic when it comes to doing his commentary, doing color commentary, especially in the postseason. He's very insightful. But the answer is Doc Emmerich. Be Live, what do you got? Who you call?
Well, see, I don't understand some things about you, Scotty D. Like,
Oh boy, here we go.
How did you just now disrespect John Smoltz? Like, what is what?
I just gave him pure respect.
You did, but you was like you didn't like him as a player. How did you not like John Smoltz as a player? Like he was. Oh, I'm okay. All right, let me. I get very passionate about certain things, and I'm a diehard Atlanta Braves fan. And John Smoltz still, to me, is like the greatest because not only was he a phenomenal starter, then he turned around and became a phenomenal relief and closer. Like amazing. All right, but I digress.
I didn't say he wasn't good. I said I didn't like him, and part of that goes back to the fact that he gave it to the Pittsburgh Pirates pretty good in the playoffs in the early '90s. I don't even know if you were born yet then, Junior. But I'm going to tell you, he had a pretty good couple years against the Pirates in the postseason.
Yes, he did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So you're bitter. I get it. I got it. So that's why you don't like him. But I digress. My favorite announcer, color commentator, I know it's going to rub somebody the wrong way, but it is what it is. Dick Vitale.
Oh, that's good.
Kidding?
I like that. Yeah.
Man, like synonymous. I just speak when I think of synonymous with college basketball. It's just Dickie V. It's one of those things like he brings such an energy, and just games without him are just meh.
Yeah.
Like, so Dickie V diaper dandies like they're going all the way, baby. I'm just like, come on, I can't even do it. I'm trying.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great call on him. The problem with him is that at this advanced stage of his life, he sounds like Eddie Cool does today. He can't talk half the time.
I'm doing this podcast, baby, with the best I can with two diaper dandies. We got the money man, Scotty D, out of South Carolina, and D Almighty Be Live up there in Fayetteville at Max Speed Shop with the best burgers in the world. It's going to be awesome, baby.
Slam, bam, jam.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, man. Yeah, man. Dickie V. Yeah, man. Oh, Uncle Dickie V, man. Hey, man. I just like there's national treasures. And Dickie V is certainly one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Scotty D, what is the topic for next week?
Well, for next week, I was thinking I'd like to hear some responses to this. If you could be a professional at any sport, just say, I know some of you might be a little bit older, but you get a chance to drink from the fountain of youth. If you could be a professional at any sport, what would it be and why? Would you love to be a baseball player? Would you love to be a football player? What would you like to do if you could just have that opportunity? You just get touched on the shoulder by God for a day and say you get to go be a pro athlete. What would it be, and why would you like to be that professional athlete?
Oh wow, that is a great question for next week's show.
Great question. Yes.
Yeah,
we're gonna have fun with that one.
My gears are turning already, man.
Yes.
But, can't wait till next week. All right, fellas, we reached this point of the show where we expand upon our 1, 2, 3 pepper points. In case it's your first time listening, we take 3 topics, we talk about it in short fashion, and we rotate from one side of the diamond to the other. So I'm going to start first. My first pepper point is Tyreke Evans gets a 2-year ban for violating the league's anti-drug policy. Dude, were you moving weight? What in the hell is going on? 2 whole years? What in the bluest of all hell and what in the name of Larry Bird from French Lick, Indiana is going on? Anybody want to tell me, in the words of Shula King, what's going on with Tyreke Evans? If you were smoking a little bit of reefer, okay, cool. It's medicinal. But what were you doing beyond that? Or were you getting buff? Like I don't get it. I don't get it. a good player, good role player, and it's bad that it's come to this. We'll be without Tyreek Evans in the NBA for 2 years. And I'm going to toss this over to the money man, Scotty D.
As I've mentioned many times on the show before, I'm a big baseball fan, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are my favorite team. And they actually coming off a pretty good weekend here. I think they just took 3 out of 4 off the Padres. But I want my manager fired. I'm sick of Clint Hurdle. It's been too many years. Why is it that every sport you fire a manager or a coach every 3 years? And in Pittsburgh, Clint Hurdle's been there for what feels like since the 1979 World Series. It's been forever. Please, Clint Hurdle, get him out of the Burgh. D-Live, over to you.
All right. We have gone 50 minutes, count of 50 minutes, somewhere around there throughout this podcast, and we have not mentioned my beloved Clemson Tigers. How dare us go that long?
We dropped the ball on that one.
Damn, almost.
But Clemson Tiger football has now successfully landed their 5th 5-star recruit. We go back into the state of Georgia again and steal another defensive end in Miles Murphy. 5-star U, defensive line U, wide receiver U, quarterback U. Clemson is leaps and bounds doing everything better than everybody else. I'm throwing the ball. Eddie Cool, go ahead and hate all you want to, sir.
You know what? Be live. I need my voice. So I'm just going to just over, in the words of my mother, love you, mom, miss you. I'm going to have to overlook you. Okay, son? I'm going to have to look over you. All right. And my second pepper point goes to Damian Lillard for playing in the playoffs injured. You know, that shows he has a lot of heart, determination. It shows his character. This is a guy that came from Weber State University, a small college, and so he's still making it do what it do despite injury. So this pepper point number 2 goes out to Damian Lillard. Courage, if you will. Now we're going to throw the ball over to the money man, Scotty D.
Yeah, so the other night after the big boxing match that we were talking about earlier, Jim Gray comes into the ring to do an interview, and he's been around for a long time, and one thing that he has been consistent throughout all these years is that he's a little prick. I just can't stand Jim Gray, and I wish that Deontay Wilder would have knocked him out right there in the ring. That's all I got about Jim Gray.
Wow.
Tell us how you really feel. That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna take this ball real quick. So we already covered Clemson, so as much as I want to talk about them more and more, I do want to talk about them more and more, but don't do it. Breathe, take it in. All right. I actually want to talk about the Atlanta Braves and Ronald Acuna Jr.
Ooh.
The best bargain in the game. Freaking knocking it out of the park because he was mentioned along with Mike Trout, him and his $430 million. Bryce Harper, him and his $330 million. And then Ronald Acuna. They're both knocking the ball all the way out of the park, 450 plus feet. But 8 years, $100 million. The Braves, yeah, we got a bargain, and I appreciate it. And we can spend money on Albies and other young talent, and the Braves will be around for years to come. Watch out for Chop On, my Atlanta Braves. Eddie Cool, here's the ball. Go with it.
Matter of fact, don't the Braves need a closer? Don't they need a closer? What's going on?
Yeah. Now, I will say this. There's a reason why the Braves have not tried to sign a closer, because I believe after June 3rd or June 4th, I think it has something to do with like the cap space, cap hit or something like that.
Oh, okay.
There's a reason why. I think they might still be in the hunt for Craig Kimbrell.
He's going to come back home. Ooh.
I think they might still be in the hunt, but it will save them a crap ton of money or a cap hit or something like that. Can't exactly remember what exactly the wording was behind that, but they're waiting on a certain date, and a lot of teams are waiting on a certain date to sign a couple of players. So that is in the works. It might happen. I would love for it to happen. There you go.
Good insight, B-Live. Good insight. Because I'm like, okay, Craig Kimbrell's out there just chilling. I mean, you can always come back to Atlanta. My third and final pepper point goes to a match last night in the Money in the Bank pay-per-view by the WWE. Tony Nese and Ariya Daivari for putting on a great match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Started off kind of slow, but they came through and did what they did in a most professional manner, which is really good for the cruiserweight division because sometimes it's hit or miss, but this one is a definite hit. And shout out to those two performers for really putting on a good product last night that was watchable and that was reviewable. I actually liked the match. I actually really liked the match. All right, Scotty D, over the back pass. Here you go.
All right, my final point of our little game of pepper is to say congratulations to the new Cleveland Cavaliers head coach, John Beilein. We kind of glossed over that last weekend. He had just gotten hired, but he was the former coach of Michigan and West Virginia, and has a great mind for basketball. Doesn't always translate to the NBA. We will see. But the real reason I'm congratulating him is because he didn't just get the Cavaliers head coaching job. He got 3. Because that's what happens when you get hired in the NBA. You get like 3 automatic head coaching opportunities. Luke Walton already on number 2. I think Larry Brown had 7. Van Gundy's got about a dozen between them. That's just the pattern for the NBA. Once you get an NBA head coaching job, you are set, baby. Be live. What you got, buddy?
Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off, and I'm gonna do a little segue real quick because, ladies and gentlemen, you're actually going to get an opportunity. We're going to actually have a new segment, a new podcast coming out, and it's called the Wrestle Bros.
Ooh, yeah.
Unfortunately, due to circumstances, I will not be on that call because I am working hard. People need me to be in place, and there's squeaky doors in the background and stuff like that. So it is what it is. I'm going to step out, but I want to mention one thing about Money in the Bank and a quick shout out to Bayley winning the SmackDown Live Championship in amazing fashion. I love Money in the Bank. I love the automatic contract and just the way it came out. I give WWE props for doing the women right in this. You know, Becky 2 belts. I didn't like the whole 2 belts thing. There's a lot of talent. Let's spread it all the way around. And the fact that Charlotte won and then Bayley decided to sneak right on in and like, nope. Let me go ahead and get that from you. You thought you had something, but you didn't. Shout out to Bayley Cakes. Love you. Mean it. Fellas, I'm going to do one thing real quick. I'm going to go ahead and sign out from you guys, but I want to let everybody know where they can find me because I'm already here. Max Speed Shop, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 482, North McPherson Church Road. You can find me here at work all the time because they're trying to work a brother to death, but it's all good because I'm trying to feed everybody and give everybody all the amazing beers. We got 57 beers on tap. Pulled pork, smoked brisket, wings. It's just good stuff. I'm about to have me a burger right now, a burger for breakfast. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter. This be your boy B Live, THS, without the I, of course. THSBEYABOYBLIVE. You can also find us on Twitter, SportsBros PCast on Twitter. You can find us on our Facebook like page at SportsBros Podcast. So there's many ways you can find us, man. Look us up. I'm going to go ahead and sign out because you know what? We got work to do. Sports Bros, I love you. Do it big. Do it big for the homies. I appreciate you guys, man. And I'm out.
No problem, Be Live. We'll check in with you next week, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the almighty Be Live has left the building. All right, Scotty D. So check this out. Okay.
I'm here. I'm listening.
While all this talking was going on, I made a list. It's called a penalty box. All right. So the penalty box goes as follows. All right, number one, we got JR. He's in the penalty box for making blasphemous statements on the Dallas Cowboys, Clemson, Tom Brady, and Kevin Durant, calling them all overrated.
You are punished.
Yes. Be Live for putting over NBC Sports Network for paying 50-11 soccer games in one day.
Punished.
In typical Be Live spirit, he forgot to do it. Bob Kraft for doing Bob Kraft stuff. He's in the penalty box too. And
Punished.
And as of today, we have a new member in the penalty box, Clint Hurdle, because you got to go. Okay.
Man, I am just scratching the surface of Clint Hurdle. The one really punished in that is me and my dad, because me and my dad have been watching Pirate games since I was just in diapers, and we have to call each other on a regular basis to complain to each other. So now I'm be complaining not only to my dad but to all of you until Clint Hurdle's gone, and that might never happen.
You never know, man. And I'm still wondering why Mark Jackson does not have a coaching job.
He is very good.
He is very good.
He knows his hoops.
Exactly. All right. Well, that wraps it up for another edition of the Sports Bros podcast. I still have my voice in some capacity. B Live has to go spray some WD-40 on some squeaky hinges. And Scotty D, the money man, he's going to do what he does best and get that money. So, Scotty D, how can the folks reach you?
Well, check me out on Facebook. There is a new episode of Scott's Thoughts where I talk about my perspective of Dame time. So check that out. And if you're in the Myrtle Beach area, come check out the obstacle course on 501 Beast Ninja, because I'm there a good amount of time too. And it's a really cool obstacle training type of facility.
Cool. Now, Scotty D, you also host trivia as well too, right?
I do a trivia contest at Molly Darcy's on the beach on Monday nights, and the Wild Wing Cafe one on Thursday nights is postponed until September, and Sunrise Grill in Calabash on Thursdays. So just check my Facebook page out, and I update that regularly.
Yeah, have a good time, man. Scotty D, he really works. He works really hard to make this happen. And for everyone just to sit back, relax, answer questions, feel smart, and have a good time. Of course, you know me. I'm Eddie Cool, the HOC, with a jacked up voice, but I'll be back next week. I'll sound better than ever. You can reach me on Snapchat, supercool5000, the word supercool, the number 5000, all one word. Instagram, Cool Season, that's Cool Season, all one word. Also, you can catch me on the other Sports Bros related the social media sites, the Facebook like page, Sports Bros, a podcast. And is there anywhere else they can check me out on? Oh, yeah.
Tranquilo Thursday.
That's it. Stick around for Tranquilo Thursdays. And hopefully I can have my voice back by then. Well, for the Almighty Be Live and for the Money Man Scotty D, this is the head of creative here at Sports Bros Podcast, Eddie Cool. And I want to tell you all right now, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it. This has been another edition of the Sports Bros Podcast.
Peace.
This episode of the Sports Bros Podcast was brought to you in part by Independent Legal Shield Associates, Chanel and Lorenzo Livingston. Have you ever thought about sitting your family down to discuss estate planning? Yeah, it is an uncomfortable conversation, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Are you looking for help to create or update your will? Estate Planning with Legal Shield has got you covered. They can help you determine the best way to manage your estate, from your money to your property and belongings. Also, they can create legal, binding documents to ensure the power of attorney and other legal procedures of estate planning. Don't wait until it's too late. To view this feature and other professional legal services, go to www.smartchoice.info or call them at 301-996-5719. Once again, that's www.smartchoice.info, or you can call them at 301-996-5719.